It's a beautiful day in somebody's neighborhood. Hey, this is Judge Mentalist, your co-host here on another exciting episode of Big Sexy Digital Nomad. We didn't even say a word to each other when we logged into this, so there is no thoughts in my mind of what we may or may not be talking about today, but I am sure, like every other episode to this point, it's going to be great and swell. Speaking of swell, here's your host, Big Sexy.
What up? Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever this is hitting your ear holes, I hope that it is good. This is going to be an interesting episode. In thoughts of this episode, I was re-listening to some of our older past episodes, kind of around the time when plans were being made, and we kind of look back. You got to look back in order to look forward, right? You got to see where you've been in order to have an idea of where you're going. And I look back on the previous episodes and all the things we said that were going to happen, and the ideas that we had, and the places we were going to go, and things that we're going to do, and how some of that happened, but not a lot of that happened, right? And so I say that to say that things are coming up different, and big plans are being made. And I haven't made the announcement on social media yet. I'm announcing it here first.
Ooh, it's a scoop.
Sometime within the first 2 weeks of January, sometime between January 11th and the 15th, the Barry Whites will be headed back to the U.S.
Oh,
not permanently, but we got the 90 days in, 90 days out, and we're looking at possibility of places to go. And honestly, since we're trying to get the visa, it is easiest to get the visa for Spain when you're in your home country.
Interesting.
Yeah, you would think that it would be easier to get the visa in the country that you want to be in.
It's the COVID vaccine, right? You guys all got the COVID vaccine?
Yeah, no. I wish it was because of the vaccine. No,
I'm saying the microchip that they put in you, they know where you are at all times.
Right. Yes, exactly. So Bill Gates is sending things to the Spanish embassy, letting them.
And there's like a big 5G tower somewhere near where you guys are staying, right?
Of course there are. Look,
is the bull with the butthole the 5G tower?
I wouldn't call it a tower, but I'm sure that butthole is there for a reain.
Yeah,
I thought that tail was looking a little higher these days.
This is not, I repeat, not a conspiracy theory podcast.
No, it is definitely not. Well, we'll save that for the next interview. So we're looking at the options. We weighed them out, and it looks like we are headed back to the U.S. For a limited time only. Why in the interview episode that you heard last on Saturday with my friend Jesse, we mentioned the whiskey barbecue contest, and I don't know if we'll still be in the U.S. around that time, but if we are, I will make an effort to be there. Yeah. If we
Sweet.
Are. I don't think we will be, because I think that's in May, and hopefully we'll be gone before then.
Yeah, it's May. It runs basically up and until the last day of Scoop Fest is the first day of activities on my Egypt trip. So I'm actually leaving before Scoop Fest ends from the East Coast, which is why I won't be there. Speaking of which, I queued up. the Egypt itinerary, so we can run through that if you
Oh,
would like.
we're definitely going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. Yeah, I doubt. I highly doubt, strongly, firmly doubt that we will be there because 3 months is really trying to be the maximum that we're going to be there, and we're still trying to get the visa. So if we get the visa, then we'll be coming back a lot sooner, right? Like as soon as we have the visa, we'll be headed back to España, and working on that. So ideally, hopefully, we're only there for a couple of months, but 90 days is the maximum you got to be out. And we'll do all that travel math, and I hate travel math. Travel math is stupid, but
Yeah, I actually just changed my flights to Egypt yesterday at the time of this recording because, as airlines often do, they'll change stuff, throw you on a different flight, change the times of that flight, and it was going to have us getting into Cairo at like 11:30 p.m. when a bunch of the activities from the day start at 5 p.m. that same day. So we ended up on hold for, I would say, in today's age, a relatively brief period of time, 15, 20 minutes of hold and or call time to get that sorted out. So now we're flying out of a different airport. We're flying out of Philly instead of Baltimore, which is no big deal to us. We literally are smack dab between the two. Still flying into London. We're actually leaving a little earlier. The benefits, obviously, we're getting into Cairo earlier, but there was, on our original set of flights, like a 6 or 7 hour layover in London, which is not desirable because
it's not enough time to actually get into the city and see some sights.
Right. You can't leave the airport for 6 hours because you don't know how long it's going to take you to get back into the airport. So, if you had like a 10 or 12 hour layover, different, but now we've got like a 3 hour layover, which is going to be much better.
That's not bad.
And yeah, so then we'll get into Cairo a little earlier. So, but it's an overnight flight, and our flight to London is in one of the bigger planes that's got in the front cabin those bougie little like sleeper pods.
Oh, nice! You get you got one of those sleeper booths, the first class boothing, chilling, and with little televisions and and lounge. That's nice.
I look, I don't often spring for premium seats or first class seats on flights, but when I'm going to be on a plane for like ever and flying international, all of that is the time to basically cash in all of those points.
Get your rest, right?
Or in the alternative, pay the money and then reload all of those points because you get multipliers on your points if you're paying to fly first class and stuff like that.
Right. So to build that up, and so you get it on the back end, as it were.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be amazing. I can't honestly, like, several things I can't wait for. It's going to be very interesting to be back in the U.S. I'm not a big fan, but it's one of those things where you can't deny that it'll be beneficial. It's like, oh well, okay. Because it's funny, like we're on a bus somewhere, and my wife hit me with the thought initially of going back to the U.S. And my knee jerk, of course, was no.
You're allowed. You're welcome here.
Because I didn't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want, like, no, let's do something else. Let's see someplace new. But of course, the seed was planted, and my brain does what it does. It has a knee jerk reaction, and then it sits back and it keeps analyzing it and looking at it and breaking it down and thinking about it and mulling it over and looking at options and trying to think of anything else. And it just sucks when it's like it makes the most sense. I hate when it makes the most sense. I hate when the thing you don't want to do makes the most sense.
Any chance that you'll make it to Vegas in that time frame?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much a guarantee.
I mean, because it's just a drive. So
Right.
I will announce formally here, and I may have mentioned it, but I know that everything was officially announced to the public yesterday. So I will put it out there. I will be attending the Performing Hypnosis Summit in Las Vegas, Nevada, February 2nd through the 4th. And not only will I be attending, I will actually be presenting as a speaker there with a star-studded lineup, and then my ass, who's been doing this for less than a year. But I submitted an idea for a talk that was really something that I was kind of working on to have it be a magic lecture, because one of the things that I've learned in my years in the mystery arts is that you might have an interest in it, but you might jump in and, everybody when they get started buys a whole bunch of everything and tries to absorb as much as they can. And it's all over the place and it's scattered. And it really takes time to kind of find, where your lane is. Some people appear to never find where their lane is, but,
Right.
it's kind of a run through of my journey and finding myself on stage and what really works for me, as kind of an encouragement to others that if everything isn't exactly what you want it to be, you might be doing the wrong thing. You might need to keep looking. You might need to pivot, because while everything leading up to this was all fine and good, and especially part of the journey, it was until I started doing hypnosis on stage till I really felt like, shit, I need to be doing this. This is the thing.
Right.
I'll still do other stuff, but there's just a different feeling and a different comfort level when it comes to the hypnosis that really jives. So if
Well,
you
I would.
somehow are listening to this, finding that, attend that conference. And if you're in Vegas, we'll be at the Orleans. And I can tell you from any other conference or convention that I have attended, once everything is done for the day, everybody ends up hanging out around that little alligator bar or whatever the hell it's called in the center of the
Alligator
casino.
Bar. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's a great
And it
spot.
is absolutely good times. The Orleans has plenty of free parking. So feel free to link up with me and say, hey, I'm going to be, when does everything end? When are you going to be hanging out? I would love to do it. Also, if you're in that area and are interested in seeing my mentor, Kevin Lapine's show, the probability of me being able to get you complimentary tickets to that show, pretty high.
Well,
The willingness
I
for me
will.
to buy your tickets so they're at least comp to you, if I can't get you comp, even higher.
I will. I'll definitely put that on the itinerary because maybe we'll record an episode if we're there from there.
Yeah.
So
And I'll have all my road gear set up. So
I'll
for
add it to my
sure.
itinerary, right? Yeah, and I'll be able to look at the road gear and see. Oh,
If
let me
you
price that out. Let me save that. And
if you
if we get
don't know what I'm talking about, because I certainly don't know the order that these episodes are going to drop, I now have road gear set up for recording podcasts because of a gig that I'm going to be doing, that I'm getting hired to do in September, which is going to allow me to take all this stuff on the road and do interviews like Big Sexy does. So
our listeners who are follow each episode, they will have heard you mention that because this is episode 65. By the way, that means we're 15 away from perfection. This episode will drop just after the Jesse interview, which is the episode that
okay,
just
wonderful.
dropped on Saturday. So they will have heard.
So go back to the bonus episode before this. If for whatever silly reason you've been skipping bonus episodes,
Don't do that.
please
There's some
don't
really
do
great
that.
content in there. There's some amazing content. Like, go listen
Even
to
if for
Jesse
some
Tales is
insane
sexy.
reason, even if for some insane reason you listen to this podcast just to listen to me, still listen to those.
Yeah, well, yeah, they for the most of them they get you in the beginning and the end.
Right. And now with the new setup, it's gonna, and this was all mentioned in that last episode, but we'll rehash it for those who are just purists and don't want the bonus content. This is going to allow me to start doing some of these interviews as well. So, I somehow whether it be through this podcast or the little behind the scenes podcast that I do for the Between Two Minds things, which is not a regular thing. We only do episodes of that when, as an afterthought of a show that we've done, or if we've attended a lecture or something like that. Like, it's not up to this point, we've done an episode of that almost every week since we started it, but it's not a scheduled weekly podcast.
Right.
So if there were, a 2-month gap where Bernardo and I weren't doing shows, there would be probably a 2-month gap where there's not episodes there. But between those two, somehow someone found me and wants to hire me to be the official podcaster for a convention that I planned on attending anyway. So
Nice.
It's kind of a win-win.
Now I figure
I'm not formally announcing that yet, but we'll get to that at some point.
As we're thinking about, as I was, pondering that, it's a magic podcast, right? So it's a magician, it's a hypnotist conference, correct? Like, so it's.
I will not confirm or deny.
Right. So while you meet while you meet with folks in that field, I imagine that it would be mainly for the Between Two Minds podcast. Or they're going to have you do that? You don't know the details, the full details just yet.
This is going to have nothing to do with the Between Two Minds podcast. I know that the Between Two Minds podcast probably had something to do with me being approached about this, because it's specifically talking about a genre that may or may not be close to the topic of the conference.
Got it.
Once everything is solidified, I will formally announce this.
Yeah,
but,
and so I think and in the interim. Oh wait, let's hold on. Let's do this. A little bit behind the scenes for you. So what I was thinking is, in terms of this podcast here, and the probability of content in that scenario, I imagine what we'll be editing snips and shorts and clips, instead of doing whole episodes, unless we drop those episodes as bonus episodes.
So specifically for that conference, I won't know until things are solidified what I do and don't have the rights to. So
right. That's what I'm
going to be. Yeah, I'm going to be hired by this organization to be their official podcaster. I'm also going to present at the conference if everything lines up. I'm going to be creating this content for them. So at this point, and again, those contracts have been signed, so the ability to negotiate this and make sure that I have the rights to reproduce or put out the content, assuming that they don't have some big problem with it, my intent is to retain the rights to, at least in part and in chunks, put this content out on other formats, because some of it would be perfect for Between Two Minds. Some of it would be perfect for here. It really all depends, because this is an international conference. There's people coming from all over the place, much like the Performing Hypnosis conference. And honestly, as a get party started thing, I will have all of the podcasting gear with me, and we'll probably, under no contract, meaning that I own all of the content, will probably snag people and pull them to the suite or some room at the conference and say, hey, you want to sit down and do a podcast episode with me?
I'd recommend that let them go on their own accord. Don't pull them. That can lead into lawsuits.
Well, you know what I mean. The thing that you've got to understand, and most people listening to a podcast have probably already pieced this together, people who submit proposals, because for the most part, with the exception of the one that's going to happen in September, like, I submitted a proposal to speak at the Performing Hypnosis conference, and then they selected me. I didn't submit anything for this other thing. They found me and said, hey, are you interested in this? And I'm like, I could be. Let me, let's sort out the details. These are people who are signed up to hear themselves speak in front of others. So I would be willing to guess that my success rate in asking people, hey, would you like to do an interview for my travel podcast or for my hypnosis behind the scenes podcast? I'm probably going to get 99% of those people saying yes. The 1%, the no's, is going to come from somebody being like, let me get back to you. I'm going to X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't fit into the schedule somehow. You know, it's going to be a scheduling thing. It's the only reason why anybody would say no. So it'll be good because it'll give me the ability to really not only dry run the equipment, which I'll get to do on the cruise most likely, but it'll get me into that mode of interviewing people post presentation in a way where nobody's expecting me to do it. I can kind of figure out what works, what doesn't work, and everything like that by the time I'm actually paid to do it.
Do you have the ability? I highly recommend ordering a small handful of magnets.
Okay.
For the cruise ship. Because cruise walls tend to be metallic. And the doors, and you can place them on doors and stuff like that. So those make great things to give out to people. I'm thinking about it now. Get yourself a handful of magnets and maybe some stickers as well. While, if you're going to order a package, get some magnets and some stickers. And people love.
I've got a decent amount of stickers for both us as well as Between Two Minds.
Good deal.
I have lapel pins for Between Two Minds, which are super nice. Like I had, it looks like Sticker Mule definitely does magnets.
They do. That's where I got
and they are reasonably priced. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get on that. There should definitely be time. I'm going to get on that today because this cruise is in 14 days.
Right. You're leaving soon. What I recommend, this is how I did it. You can do it however you choose, but the way I did it was I gave out stickers pretty much to everybody. Anybody I met, they got a sticker. If we talked and I got to know them, they got a sticker. If they agreed to an interview, or if they subscribe to the podcast in front of me.
Ooh.
Like if they open up their Spotify or open up Apple Plus and subscribe to the podcast, they got a magnet.
Nice.
Yeah, just an incentive to actually, be counted in, And then if I were you, I'd also and if you go to the Patreon and sign up at the Patreon, you get a lapel pin immediately. Just thoughts.
Yeah.
Just thoughts.
I mean, any of that should work. And that would be, that's good. Because I want to drive. So the Between Two Minds, we set up a Patreon. I think I mentioned this before because it gave the vehicle is there for us to sell the video of the hypnosis show after the fact. And it's a great format. We don't have to worry about messing with it. That Patreon is absolutely free. There is a paid tier that's there, but that's because Patreon makes you do a paid tier. So anybody who's interested in following those antics specifically, do not sign up for the paid tier of the Between Two Minds Patreon. There's no additional content there.
However, feel free to go to the Big Sexy Digital Nomad Patreon tier. And sign up for all the choose a tier. We have upgraded the tiers. That's more.
I mean, we were still in this, but we'll stay.
I agree. Yeah, we'll stay in it. Just it's new information. It's a subset of the behind the scenes subset. The Patreon has been updated, ladies and gentlemen. Said it was coming. It's the holiday season. I figured no better time to do it. I've included tiers. So the $1 tier is still there, still active. You still get things, but I have upgraded the tier. Sorry,
we got a little cough button situation. We got new tiers.
I hit the I hit the volume knob when I was going for the cough button, so I missed it for the first time. So sorry, you caught that.
Whoops.
Off on the first one. Whoopsie. But yeah, we have new Patreon tiers. I'm gonna pull them up now so I can tell them all about them. So here are the tiers. If you're interested, they go the basic tier. The first tier, of course, is the $1 tier, is still the same, and that's the To Be a Big Sexy World Traveler tier. The Be a Big Sexy World Traveler tier. That one, of course, gives you entry into any contest that we're offering. Just by being, again, we enter the contest. Speaking of, the Whiskey Barbecue is coming up if you join the tier, you automatically get an entry into the drawing for that one whiskey barbecue ticket at Jacob the Outer Guy house for the Scoop Fest 2024, a Scoopabration. You also are able to enter safe travels at any checkout for any merch or tickets that we are directly providing. Any subscriber will automatically get a discount. You'll have access to these video episodes so you can see our beautiful faces with no ads. You get to see us talking and have, the shenanigans that we get into. And once a month, you get an on-air thank you. We'll thank all of our subscribers at the $1 tier once a month. We'll send a thank you for all those. The only change is that we were thanking everybody every single episode. The $1 tier is going to get thanked once a month. Next is the $5 tier. That's the Meet the People We Meet tier. I might change that to the Where in the World is Big Sexy tier. And we'll see. Of course, you get everything from the $1 tier, and then you'll have access to the interview video episodes. Right. So any of the bonus content, the bonus episodes that we drop on Saturdays, those tend to be videos as well. The $5 tier will have access to those interview videos or slideshows of our guests. The $10 is the digital Nomad tier. That includes access to any digital merch. So we'll send you any digital images or content. If we get anything new, we'll send that to you at the beginning of the month. So make sure that we have your email if you sign up for that tier. Next is the $20, the Big Sexy tier.
Yeah.
Indeed. That one includes, of course, you get now for the Big Sexy tier, you get an on-air thank you in every episode. Every episode, we'll have a moment where we thank everybody from the Big Sexy tier and up. You also have access to parody song requests. You have the opportunity to write a parody song of your choosing, any song, any topic. I don't have to know the song. I don't
Big
have to
Sexy
know the topic. If you give me the song and the topic, I will write a parody song for you, make an announcement, and we'll record that. And then you'll have access to that song. And I'll send you directly that song directly to you, and then we'll publish that in a special episode strictly for the $20 tier and above. Also, you get any of our images in the sticker form. So, we have a wide variety of our merch. Our images, we'll put some of those on sticker forms, and then we'll send anybody in the $20 tier and above those stickers. We'll probably place it out to 1 or 2 stickers each month. And of course, any new ones get created, you get first dibs at those. We have the $50 tier, which is the Magic is You tier.
Ooh.
You get special mention at the top of the show. So once a month, you're recognized an esteemed Big Sexy World Traveler. You also have an invitation to be a guest on the podcast.
There we go.
Asked. You're invited to join Judgmentalist and myself to chat about whatever you want. We can talk about whatever you like. Now, of course, we're going to limit that. So that option to come on the be a guest on the podcast is once you sign up for the that tier, within the first 2 months of that subscription, you have access to be a guest on the podcast. And we'll decide later if that repeats or not. We'll see how that goes. Also, you have promotion of any service, item, or event that we agree with or are okay with. You get to plug or advertise your product or your podcast or whatever you want to do. You're welcome to do so. We'll create an ad for you and we'll drop it. We'll make it and we'll put it in each episode if you're on the $50 tier. And then last but not least is the highest merchant ticket discount. If you confirm that you'll be purchasing an item or a ticket and that we have access to, we'll make sure we'll send you the maximum discount that you can get on that item or event. Last but not least, this is the secret special tier. I don't expect anybody really, except for folks who are insane about us, So if you get this tier, I'm looking at you sideways. We'll honor it, but I'll still be looking at you sideways. It's the Safe Travels tier. That is, so we started the podcast. When did we start this podcast? We started in 2023, 2022. 2022, yeah. So I think I'm going to change this tier. So it's going to be 2022, with the year that we started this podcast, times 2. So what that does is it's a hangout with the hosts. Basically, we'll fly myself and Judgmentalist into Vegas, and then we'll all do Vegas right.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we'll go see a show. We'll go see we'll do a restaurant. We'll record a special episode with you with our special guest. We'll get tickets, like I said, to an amazing show. I should still have enough good connections that we can make some really awesome things happen there as well. Of course, that one was inspired by our friends over at ICS. And so again, that is a special wonderful absolute tier. You don't have to stay subscribed to that. If you do it once, we'll make it happen. And
That's
then
a one-timer.
that's
You're welcome to, but
you're welcome to hang on and do it every single month. I won't fight you on it, but generally that's going to be a one-timer. So those are our tiers, y'all. Those are the Patreon tiers, and I hope that we get some support. Of course, so they got big things coming up, big things happening, and all support will be helpful. You guys don't know, Judgmentalist upgraded his equipment. I am looking to upgrade mine as well. And in order to do that, we'll need some.
I think I'm losing you.
Extra help in that.
You've definitely frozen.
So, that's okay. Same, but that's it's still recording on my end, and it's still recording on your end. So, yeah, it should come back now. Now that I should be.
Yeah. I'm back. You're back. It's good. Got a little weirdness there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our new tier, man. What do you think?
Let's do it, man. Let's do it.
Yeah, sweet. So yeah, guys, you're welcome to join and support the podcast.
I will. If somebody is super interested in that top tier, and that first weekend in February could work for you, reach out to us. Because if I'm already going to be there, and you're going to be in a position to make being there happen without an extra flight, we can one time modify that number, because we're not, if we're already, if the stars have aligned, that number there doesn't need to be that number. That number is what it is because of travel costs. So,
and that's basically it. Those are pretty much the costs. It's a cute number, and it would definitely cover travel costs for any flight necessary and room and board. But if those are circumvented due to previous circumstances, we can definitely negotiate that situation.
Yeah, like if the stars align. But you want to talk about Egypt?
Yeah, so let's dive in, sir. Let's get into your Egyptian itinerary.
So, part of the reason why I'm doing this is that I'm a magic nerd. But part of the reason that I'm doing this, a bigger part of the reason why I'm doing this, is because this looks to me like the trip of a lifetime. For anybody who does not know, in May of this year, I will be going to Egypt with a crew of magicians and such that are affiliated with or customers of Vanishing Ink. They are one of the big magic suppliers online. They produce a lot of their own products. They do a lot of book publishing, and it is a great business name. They only have brick and mortar magic shops because they, over the past couple of years, have purchased some of the brick and mortar magic shops that were failing to keep them alive. One of them, specifically the most famous of them all, is the one that is in the Magic Kingdom in Disneyland. That magic shop is now owned by Vanishing Ink.
Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yes. So twice a year they do something called a retreat, and the retreat is basically a magic convention for people who don't want necessarily. It's a vacation. / magic convention. So the focus is really on the event itself. And while there's going to be magic lectures and teaching and performances, that is not the
Main
the the
focus.
the main focus, but there's some magic there. So um, first of all, there are 2 magicians that are going to be there who are kind of like the quote unquote headliners that'll be doing stuff. One of them is Sean Farquhar, who's fantastic.
That name
And then,
sounds
well, they
familiar.
both are. John Gustafaro. Um, so those are going to be awesome. It includes a luxury Nile cruise
Ooh.
on a riverboat ship that is it's not vanishing, buying up a block of rooms and cabins on the boat. It's vanishing and only vanishing. So we will have run
So
of
they
the
bought the
entire
boat.
boat. So
Wow.
here is the itinerary. Day 1, arrival in Cairo. That's Egypt, for those of you who don't know. Check into the 4 Seasons. Magic events begin approximately 5 p.m. Day 2,
Now it's the
we'll
Four
go to the
Seasons Hotel, not the Four Seasons Landscaping and Gardening Company, right?
It's unclear
Okay.
from this
I I
post. It may actually
I
be
would
the
get
landscape
I would
site.
make sure to get some updated information on that, just to be
Right.
safe.
Yeah.
Just to be
Yeah.
safe. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So day 2, which is the first full day, we'll be doing the Egyptian Museum. I'm just going to read all of this because it's
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
Um, our Egyptologist, because we're going to have a dedicated Egyptologist that's kind of our tour guide for the whole thing. So we're just not going at this solo. And
Nice.
leading up to it, there's actually going to be some Zoom calls with participants and this Egyptologist to kind of get us prepped for what to expect and everything like that. Egyptologist will guide us on a fascinating tour of 7,000 years of Egyptian history with a visit to the Egyptian Museum of Antiquities. The museum houses the world's greatest collection of Egyptian artifacts, including 12 rooms filled with golden treasures from the world famous tomb of the boy king Tutankhamun.
Nice.
We'll go to the Giza pyramids, the only present day survivors of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. They're among the world's greatest tourist attractions and never lose their ability to inspire and overwhelm visitors. We'll go on a camel ride. No trip to Egypt would be complete without a ride on a ship of the desert.
Well, I hope your balls are ready.
And so you'll have the opportunity to mount your individual camel for an unforgettable ride across the sands of Giza.
I am 12.
And the Sphinx. Visit the mysterious Sphinx, an ancient figure shrouded in legend and mystery. Our Egyptologist will enthrall us with tales told of this fascinating figure. That is all day 1.
That's all on day
Then on day
1.
2, we're
Jeez
flying to
Louise.
Luxor. We'll go to the Karnak
Coming back to
Temple.
Vegas?
What's that? No. Luxor. It's actually a place in Egypt.
Ah.
Yeah, like those things in Vegas are not necessarily native to Vegas.
Oh,
They're
interesting.
emulating things in the real world. Imagine that.
Yeah. On a side note, I really want to one day, and we'll be going to Paris, I'm sure eventually. I want to go to Paris and be like, what? They stole that from Vegas
and made it taller.
and made it taller. What the hell? Rude. The French are so rude.
So we're going to fly to Luxor. I have no idea where that actually is geographically, but we'll visit the Temple of Karnak, the largest
Africa.
religious complex that was ever built for a god in the history of mankind. Wait, I thought we visited that when we went to Utah. Never mind. Nile cruise embarkation. Stay in a deluxe cabin on board this luxury small cruise ship. That's like I said, this is not buying a block. We will have the whole ship. I don't know how many people are on this retreat, but I know that the one that we did in Utah was like 60 or so people. We'll visit the Luxor temple that was predominantly built by Pharaoh Ramses II.
I wonder if it's going to have a light at the top of it.
The next day, which is day 3, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Valley of the Kings, cross to the west bank of the Luxor and visit the tomb of King Ramses VI and the famous tomb of King Tut. Temple of Queen Hatshepsut. I may be saying that wrong, considering one of the most incredible examples of ancient Egyptian architecture.
Yeah,
Colossi
good old
of
Queen Hatshepsut.
Yeah. Other words I can't say here. Next day, there's 2 temples. I don't understand some of these words. We're gonna visit some island on a temple,
Nice.
Philae, maybe the temple of Isis, the goddess of love and passion in ancient Egypt. We're gonna go on a felucca ride or a felucia ride. I don't know how to pronounce that either. When I come back, I'll know how to say these words. It's some
We'll
sort of
revisit
sailboat.
this, and yeah, I think
Yeah,
Felicia may
it's
be
gonna be
right.
sailboat, sparkling wine, and then we're gonna fly back to Cairo.
I don't think you want to
And
ride
then
Luca. That might be bumpy.
and this event is sold out. There is a waiting list, but it's sold out.
Nice.
Um, and yeah,
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing. And that's happening when?
that is in May, right after Scoop Fest, which is why I won't be
Right.
attending Scoop Fest.
Right.
But I will make efforts to attend and perform at Scoop Fest in at the next one.
That's gonna be exciting. That's gonna be so very exciting for you. Yeah.
So
That's cool. Yeah. Hopefully, I should be back in Malaga by that point. The good news is, again, the northern coast of Africa is literally across the sea from where I am now. On a good day, I can see the mountain ranges of, I think it's Morocco or Gibraltar or something like that. Gibraltar's an island. But it's pretty
awesome.
interesting. So, you know, yeah, who knows what'll be possible then. I mean, I got some irons in the fire. If any of those hit and strike and are going amazing, maybe we pop over for a visit and, say hi.
I'm certainly not opposed.
Yeah.
Um,
I want to see
yeah.
Egypt. We got Egyptian friends.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to our friend Magda. Um, and I don't think Jack's Egyptian. Maybe Jack is Egyptian. Well, shout out to Magda and Jack anyway. Both y'all. One of y'all is Egyptian, or either both y'all Egyptian, or I don't know. Don't mind me. But still, them. They just went to Egypt as well. They just had a good time over there, and enjoyed it. So yeah, shout out to them. That sounds like you're gonna have a blast. I can't. I'm so excited for you, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And
2024 is gonna be like
dude,
a serious
2024 is
thing.
going to be super killer because number one, anybody who doesn't know, and there's no way you don't know if you know who I am, um, that Between Two Minds show, we're just adding more and more shows to the lineup that are fundraiser shows for either nonprofits or school groups. We will absolutely hit that goal of helping those groups raise 100K in 2024.
Nice.
We're doing 2 of those in January. There's at least another one lined up for February. Those are solidified dates that are already on the calendar. I've got inquiries from all over the place about doing them other places. So we will have probably 10 to 20 of those shows in 2024. So, they at 20 shows, they've got to raise an average of $5,000 a piece to hit that 100K mark. It's totally possible because I normally, our fundraiser shows normally raise $5,000 to $6,000, and that's without a huge sponsor push. So if people are doing a big sponsor push, it's even better. So I'm super excited about that. That invitation remains open to anybody who has a nonprofit group or a school group or a veterans organization, something like that, that wants a unique type of fundraiser. You don't want to just set up something that looks like a GoFundMe that says, hey, you just pitch in money and then get nothing for it. This is, ticketed stage shows. Obviously, we've talked a bunch about the show. I don't need to go into the details of that here, but we work with the organizations. We have a low risk, no risk sort of pricing structure where we're just getting, either a percentage of the ticket sales. We usually cap that to make sure our costs are covered. And that's different based on where it is. We
Right.
charge less money for the ones that are in our backyard where we get to sleep in our own bed. So, if you're within a couple of hours of us here in Elkton, that's totally doable. We're not looking to get rich doing this. We're looking to have this be an opportunity to get ourselves out there and give back to organizations that are deserving and help them out. So
yeah, that's always amazing.
Vast majority of the money from these events will go to the organization, not to us. So
that's really important. That's really good. I love the good work we're doing. That's a great way to get get a Webby award.
What, doing these shows? Or
being giving back to the community, getting recognized. You do it for the goodness. I'll look at getting you recognized for it.
Okay, I'll take it. Because all that does is, that recognition just opens the door to more of those opportunities.
Right.
Because if I had a career in stage performance and this show or some version of this show, and the caveat to that was that every show has to be a fundraiser show for some deserving nonprofit, my response to that would be sign me up. Like, nothing pleases me more than being able to help others that, are involved in a good cause, whatever that might be.
Nice.
So sign me the hell up.
Right. Yes. And if you know any nonprofits, reach out to them, make the connections, and
or connect them to me. Like, you don't even have to necessarily be a middle person. If you know of somebody that's on a board of a nonprofit or is like the coach of some school team or something that needs to raise money, or some school organization, doesn't matter really what it is, if it's affiliated with a school, you could just hop on to, our social media for Between Two Minds or for Judgmentalist, and you'll see an article about this. Just share that article with somebody. All the contact information is in there. So you could just pass that baton to somebody who you think might be interested in putting one of these shows together.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a middle person. Just connect us. We'll walk them through the whole process, what they need to do on their end, what we're going to do on our end. We will provide them media supports to make sure they can promote the event. We will help them set up sponsorship stuff. So if they want to raise more money by selling, sponsorships to businesses in the local community, it's a great way to make money. We don't charge any money on those sponsorships. We typically will boil our price down to a per ticket amount, which is less than half of what the suggested ticket cost is. It's our way to guarantee that group is making money, not losing money on the event, even if it's not, a complete sellout 400 seat event. We would love groups that have the ability to do that, because that's awesome for us. So yeah, that's kind of the rundown there.
Nice. Awesome. I have a random question for you. This goes back to, again, the 2024 and the things that we're doing. I mentioned it briefly about, reaching out to other folks and podcasts about putting together a video of all the tangential podcasts, like get video summaries, not summaries, but greetings,
like
or whatever.
A video montage from the Scoop Pods
for Scoop Pods, for Scoop Fest. I was thinking about helping put that together. My question is, and I can ask this question here because I know they don't listen. Is, should I reach out to the guys or let it be a surprise?
I'd let it be a surprise at this point.
That's what I figured. I want to let it be a surprise. I think that'd be a great, thank you to them. I want, for being such awesome organizers of an amazing community that folks are benefiting from, right? And I think we should, I think I'll make that my goal for the end of this year, before January 1st, is to at least make contact. I'll go to that Scoop group, all Scoop cast podcast. What's it called?
Pods.
The Scoop Pods.
Scoop Pods. ScoopPods.com. That's a list of them all. That's
I go to
the directory.
ScoopPods.com. and reach out to all those and say, hey, let's put together a video thank you, have them submit it to me, and then I'll put together a movie and then figure out whose hands we have to get it into the plays at Scoop Fest. I'll talk to our friend Brogan over at
Hey buddy, nice podcast.
I think they may have the best in to get that.
Nobody says no to Brogan because Brogan can do nothing wrong.
Exactly. So they may have the best in to get that.
But look, I mean, if you think about the unofficial announcement that I made earlier today, I now have measurable evidence of a positive impact from ICS, because I would not be doing this podcast if it weren't for ICS.
Right.
I wouldn't know you. I highly unlikely would know you.
Correct.
Okay. Is it possible that we would have crossed paths in Vegas? Of course.
Sure.
But you know, this was the catalyst. I certainly, if I weren't doing this podcast, would never have had it. You know, it would have been a start over sort of thing to create the content that is the Between Two Minds Behind the Scenes podcast, which, you know, again, is just kind of a, hey, wouldn't it? It's our attempt to just put more content about our show out there in the world, because more content is more ways for somebody to find us and allow that thing to grow. And it was that which somebody found us and said, hey, we want you to be the podcaster for this event. So that is something where, you know, I'm getting direct benefit from basically ICS.
Right.
Indirectly.
Exactly. You know, and it's you know, I tripped the fact that, like, you know, of course we have this podcast, and then I'm in the same vein, you know, doing Rainbow Dreamcatcher, the Love podcast with my amazing and talented wife. Shout out to Nilla. Love you. And you know, not necessarily would have been gone down that pathway had I not been doing this, and I wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for ICS. You know, and our friends over at
Hey buddy, nice podcast.
Like, you know, are also, you know, indirectly responsible for this madness that you have in your ear holes every single week. You know, so a big ass thank you to all y'all. So yeah, I want to put that video together. Like, I want to make that my project. I'm gonna reach out. I'm maybe do that this weekend or the starting next week on my to-do list. What I have to do is I have to send that message to my accountability buddies and be like, hey, remind me to do this.
For sure. Speaking of reminding us to do things, I got some people to thank here.
Yes. Speaking of which, we went through our entire Patreon tier, so let's give a shout out to our current Patreon subscribers. Who we got?
And we got some new names on the list. We've got Jen, we've got Tess, we've got Joe Smith, of course, the Rainbow Dreamcatcher, the Love Podcast. We got Billy from Cruise Habit, Margaret White, Smitty Scoop, Angel Bree, Chris Lowry, who was a guest a couple episodes ago. He's a travel agent. Check him out.
Cruises.com.
Correct. Now, he and I had a conversation. They may actually be rebranding that because the confusion that you witnessed here.
Yeah, and Alpaca My Bags. There's a lot of Alpaca My Bags.
Yeah, they may want to be dealing with something where they know that stupid podcasters like me don't screw up their name and accidentally send business to other people. So it's possible. It's a conversation they had with me recently. So if anybody has any fun ideas for them to potentially rebrand to, help us help them. I'd love to.
Yeah.
Michael McKenna, Lee Popsicle, Sebastian Robbins, and Joshua Tarr. You guys are a big part of making this happen, keeping the steam and the wind in the sail of the Safe Travels voyage.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all the support of our Patreons. If you too would like to be a Patreon member and experience us two nincompoop shouting your name out over the airwaves and giving luscious praise and mushiness in your direction, simply go to bullwiththebutthole.com. Or if you don't want to type butthole in your work computer, then you can go to patreon.com/bigsexydigitalnomad. Just be aware you will be putting the word sexy in your work computer. So either way, a little bit of risk.
So you're saying we need to go hustle down another domain.
I'm saying no. I'm saying sign up, take a little risk, take a little chance, and sign up to be a Patreon member with us. We're happy to have you with us. And and then of course, send us a digital postcard or an audio postcard. We'd love to hear from you guys. Love to hear travel stories. Love to hear if you have any magic stories. If you have any tales of adventure or non-adventure.
And also, I want to re-encourage everybody to join that Patreon, no matter what the tier. Even if it's the free tier, I will tell you that some names that I just named are on the free tier. But we're not going to call anybody out. There's no difference. If it's just not in your budget to do it, just join the Patreon. The free tier is there for a reason.
Yep.
And we're happy to have you and name your name in line with everybody else's all the same. So sure, we've added upper tiers with greater benefits. If you want those benefits, fantastic. We'd love for you to take on those benefits, but certainly not a requirement for anybody. Anybody who's in now, don't feel the need to upgrade, only if you feel like it's something that you want to do.
Absolutely. No pressure. Feel free to do it at your own whim. We'd be so ever grateful if you did. But we're happy with where everyone is and what everyone's doing. And so, even joining for free, get you access to the community. And you can show that you are a big, sexy world traveler. And in the meantime, safe travels.
Safe travels.